coordination. That mid lane really wasn't performing. Now, though, they are sitting at 5 and 3. They're in 7th place. They want to try and keep that trend rolling.
Which is why to start off game 1, we got JDG on blue and red side Vici say no volley bear for this first game.
Now, they won't want any of that to be going over into the hands of JDG. Still, the Kalista and the LeBlanc ban coming out from JDG. It's usually the other way around. But as we talked about, well, Pantheon banned away from Hung. The Nidalee is the one that is really going to be the curiosity pick ban for me, or pick here for me.
Do we see an Aphelios instead of that, though? What is the priority? Because both these teams haven't really looked at it much. It's Aphelios for iBoy, but LoKen's Ezreal has been such a big top priority. Aphelios open. Does LoKen say, I will take this away? Nope. You mentioned it, Dagda, you're on the money.
Yeah, it's the Nidalee for Kanavi. This has been the most feared pick for Kanavi. He loves this champion because, hey, we talked about him loving that invade style. Well, Nidalee does that, but he can do it on his own terms, at his own pace. And now Leyan is going to have his work cut out for him because, well, unless he wants to go towards something like the Graves and try and match that clear, it's not going to look too hot for him in that jungle role.
It goes further to the point that JDG are like, yep, that's how big the Nidalee is for us, that we don't care about giving Aphelios over, excuse me. You ready for the Ezreal? Because even though he's played a bit of Ashe, I feel like LoKen's like, give me back my champion.
And they can just go full poke here if they want, right? You can go towards the Ezreal. Hey, it looks good at the moment. It does well into Aphelios. And then you still have multiple options of, well, do we want to go towards this full poke style composition? Do we want to go towards a more team fight orientated composition? You have a lot you can work with by going towards this Ezreal. And then we'll have to see what they want to pair it. I imagine support's going to be the lock-in here for LvMao in that bottom lane, or at least some kind of flexibility for multiple different positions.
He's played 6 games of Bard. LvMao's Bard, as we all know, in the spring finals, made international headlines for a reason. The opportunity to pick it up now or go for something a little bit crazier. Instead, Renekton. Okay. That's Cube play Quinn.
I mean, Cube does play a lot of different champions, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has something that he wants to bring out. Cube is also a fantastic gangplank, which could work relatively well, but decides instead, hey, look, we're going to go towards this full team fight. We need Aphelios. We want the Ornn. We're going to go towards late game.
Let's see. We've got a bit of time. 5 seconds. Be very surprised. In a team without Forge, if we had Jace, that would be a bit of a kick in the shin as the cannon locked on in.
So, this is still, you're going to be looking at least a matchup in the top lane where Cube is going to be relatively similar to Zoom. It is Kennen favored, but it's a matchup that can swing either way. But when we get towards those team fights, you're going to be looking at Cube to try and have these big flanking positions and try and set up for iBoy to close the distance onto this Ezreal, onto this Nidalee, who are going to be playing relatively far back at the beginning of these scraps.
Saw a lot of this from Cube when he debuted last year in summer. It was the Aatrox and the Kennen that he was mostly interested in. But now, bans towards the support pool. Well, that's what we have to nail down, along with another solo laner from both teams. So there is a lot across the board. The set taken away. LvMao also loves this pick. He's played it already 3 times.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a Nautilus ban or Nautilus locked in here for Vici. Works pretty well in setting up in the bottom lane and has that briefly engage tool that you really want to set up for yourselves when you've got a Kennen and this kind of stuff that you're trying to play around.
You know what? Seeing the Leona ban, not surprised. I was going to say, what about Braum, Dagda? You're an Ezreal and a Nidalee.
Yeah, there's so much coming your way, though. Even if you block one with the Braum ult, it doesn't really matter. Or Braum ult. With the Braum E, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. So having something that's more guaranteed lockup and engage here for Vici, I think does a lot more. And as we were talking about for that Nautilus pick, now for the Ezreal, though, you can go for the Braum if you want to. You just create a bit of space and disengage for Kanavi and for LoKen. And you do pretty well in that bottom side matchup as well, because whenever Nautilus goes in, you got this Braum toss up the shield, and you all just back away happy as Larry.
Okay, well, Larry's on the blue team this time around. Yagao, what do you want? Okay, Twisted Fate, but Zeka can carry this.
Yeah. I mean, it works pretty well into this Twisted Fate. You can stop the teleports, you can farm up relatively easy. and you match because basically you're both going for this Rod of Ages build. So I don't hate this here from, I think it'll be a great pick for Zeka, and they can just go towards late game scaling again.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, look, this just basically, as you said, matches these side lanes. It can match the roams. It can keep everything in order here. And on Vici's side, they're just all in on iBoy. It's like, right, we're waiting till the Aphelios gets towards late game. You are going to either, on JD's side, try and go for these big poke plays, or you're going to be trying to make the pick plays where we can manage with this Galio and trying to get in aggressive where we've got the Nautilus to engage and the Galio to follow up as well.
I think this would be something maybe Lyric would be happy with. You know, he complains about Galios with engage. But the cannon.
So that's where I'm kind of on Lyric's team here, where I'm trying to look at the positives, being like, look, you do have a Nautilus that can engage here. You've got a cannon who, if it gets that flank off, can also be an engage tool and set you up. But it's lacking some guaranteed engage is the big thing to make sure you can actually get in with this Galio. Now, the good news is on JDG side, they have the Renekton, so they do want to be at least enabling Zoom somehow to be this front line. But it's going to be hard for them, especially with how far Nidalee can play back, with how much poke LoKen can put out as well, for them to really try and play around that, or try and get that engage onto JDG.
I'm ready to get in this game. JDG and Vici are both on win streaks. Vici, 4 series in a row. Now, you guys would have missed it because it was on a non-English broadcast day, but Vici recently just 2-1'd FPX. Before that, Rogue Warriors. Before that, E-Stars. Before that, LNG. All 2-1s. They're on a 4-series win streak, as stated, with JDG, who have beaten DMO, Rogue Warriors, WE, IG, EDG, and LGD. JDG are returning to form, and Vici are returning to the Rift. Let's get into this, and let's baptize ourselves of the sins of the first series of the night. And get ready for some good League of Legends. Oh, I can feel it. The sky's got writing. And I'm still learning. I apologize. However,
you're getting there.
I can tell you one thing. JDG, I can read Beijing above their logo. Because usually, if we were in stadiums, JDG would be in Beijing. And Vici would be here in Shanghai. One day, sir, we will return to normality. But welcome to the Rift, where Unsealed Spellbook creates a library in this first game.
So it looks like JDG maybe looking towards iBoy already, just a bit short there. But as we start to look at how this early game is going to start to play out, the big issue for Kanavi here is that, unfortunately for the Nidalee, you don't have too many lanes you can work around, especially when you're looking for this kind of invade style that we were talking about. Zoom isn't going to have too much pressure against Cube. Cube should be the one that's able to control, to a certain extent, that top lane. Same with LoKen and LvMao in the bottom lane. They're definitely the ones on the back foot here when it comes to controlling their wave. So Kanavi will be more so playing towards trying to farm as quickly as possible in his own side of the jungle. And maybe if he spots Leyan trying to go for a gank or trying to make some plays somewhere, then he can go in and steal away camps. But just outright having his own lane pressure to set up for these plays is not going to be quite there for Kanavi.
Starting on the bottom side for both junglers, pathing towards top at the very least. No wards to track, as Yagao's put a ward to the side of the brush. And of course, when we hit 6 on both these mid laners, that's the expectation of action. As this is the first time we've seen the project, what's it called, the Project TF?
I am not going to lie, ever since, I think I had this conversation, maybe Munchables instead, is I have no idea what the name of skins are anymore, because obviously the Chinese client is on my PC, so I actually don't know because I can't read it. And when I get to patch notes, they kind of just breeze out of my head because I'm looking at everything else.
I'm in a weird limbo where I want to change my my client back to English, but I'm also like, I'm trying to learn Chinese rather quickly, and I should learn to read the characters of champions.
Also, just to see what they're called, because they're very different names from what we have on the English side, so I kind of want to see and figure out what they're called.
We'll say I might not learn that way. Justice Punch into the flash with the perfect traffic cone from Leyan, but Kanavi for the counter gank. Spear onto a minion. They still want to turn it around with a red card onto Zeka. That's not a stun, but the damage, the spear flashed over with the auto, and the corrupting potion burn will not kill him today.
Very nerdy, but good turnaround play from Kanavi, and now you can see, okay, well, this is Kanavi's time to shine. You can move down towards the bottom lane, get that scuttle trap for themselves. There is a Gromp on the enemy side of the jungle as well if he wants to try and go for that, but a bit wary since Zeka will be back, and he actually doesn't know where Leyan is at the moment.
We've seen this quite a lot, freeing up the mid laner who has global pressure to roam, but early on getting that advantage. With a better mid wins, you can see setting up as Zoom. Okay, ready to dice over the wall, but Leyan isn't going to take that bait.
Leyan's going to just back it off. He knows, look, I got to get back to clearing ASAP if I'm hoping to keep up with this Nidalee. And Kanavi there, as you can see, will start moving into the enemy side of the jungle. As
walks in, doesn't care. Good little shot. iBoy doesn't get tagged, though, by the javelin toss. Second time Kanavi's come into the lane, and not a good couple of shots, but at least adding pressure.
And the thing is as well, Kanavi's gone for the Conqueror runestone, so usually we see the electrocute because it's all about, getting into the enemy side jungle, trying to get as much burst damage off as possible. But Kanavi, realizing, hey look, I don't have any of these lanes to play around, has gone for the Conqueror, so more about that sustained damage and also getting a little bit of a heal for himself off of that as well.
He's actually backed away to get skirmish as well. Also for Leyan, the exact same in his pocket going bot side, Kanavi top side. Deep ward placed by Vici. You can see the control ward there on your screen. That should spot out Kanavi as he paths upwards, depending on the route.
And this is what we want to see from Vici, is them playing smartly around Kanavi, because they have left this open. Every other team has gone, no, we don't want Kanavi to have this pick. We want to make sure it's off the board. But Vici have said, look, we're fine with this. We've got a game plan here. We're going to get this deep vision, spot them out, and make sure that Kanavi can't have these big impact plays that get him ahead so often on this Nidalee.
The way it goes is he enters your lane like this, and Shielded Durand will actually save Zeka. Kanavi not landing these spears today, even then into a minion. And Leyan's here to provide some support. A lot of positioning around mid. This continues to go on, but Kanavi's low on mana.
And it's because mid is so crucial. We already talked about it a good bit, but Kanavi, he'll hop out of the wall. But both of these laners, whoever gets an advantage, then gets the opportunity to roam. Both of them have burned teleport. Both of them have these big impact ultimates that they want to try and use. Super long cooldown on them as well. So you want to be getting value out of these ults. The problem is, because both of them are trying to roam at the same time, both of them are clearing fairly similarly as well. It's really hard for either one to get that advantage to move. So you have to rely on the junglers to make that advantage for them. And so far, it's been so back and forth. Neither has that.
But at least Hung to influence the matchup could be the difference maker. Leyan, security of topside scuttle, which is the third to spawn. And Hung missing from lane, while you can see LvMao doing the same. LvMao was once known as the best roaming support, matching quite nicely alongside Kanavi, but Scuttle was taken. That'll secure a bit of information towards this top side.
I think they were spotted, though. I think just about on Zeka's back, it was known that they are going to be coming in. That spear definitely going to let them know that they're here. But Zeka, you can already see, kind of hovering towards that top side, will have the ultimate if anything goes astray. So honestly, it's not too bad of a deal, as already Hung has made it back down towards this bottom side. He can help shove in this bottom lane, get the recall for iBoy and Hung faster, and they can get towards this Rift Herald if Vici want to make a play towards that objective.
Nice shot from Zeka, meanwhile, though, cancelling the back of Yagao, not making it as easy. Destiny and Hero's Entrance available for both these mid laners now.
So iBoy just popped Infernum there, which means he can push in super heavily. Leyan, now realizing this, has moved down towards this dragon, so they're going to look to shove in, get dragon, and then as we said, it's still 45 seconds before that Rift Herald spawns, so they can pick this up before having to worry about that Rift Herald objective.
Also, iBoy with the BF versus a tier on LoKen. Big damage difference here early on for Vici, so that helps.
And you can see JDG have realized, look, when we're looking towards this bottom side, we are not going to want to fight. They've gone for the tier, they went for the coal. Look, Vici, dragons are yours, is all that JDG are saying. So instead, they can potentially try and make plays on this top side, because you do have Renekton, you do have Zoom, who's going to be looking to try and be aggressive early, and you kind of have Yagao, which can set up Zoom in these fights, but realistically, it's going to be a little bit tough because it's never just a 3v3. Hung is going to be moving up from Vici. You do have just as much team fight power coming in from Cube and from Zeka with these massive AoE CC ultimates. So JDG still have to be quite careful about how they play this early.
I wouldn't say this is careful, though, because Kanavi himself Even low on mana, going to be walking through. Leyan has the smite available and just autos it. Oh, Kanavi against a pillar. He'll flash over the wall. He turns his attention to the Heralds, but that's a summoner down after a tricky situation.
And this is what we were talking about. It's super difficult for Kanavi to make these invade plays as the Nidalee against each of the lanes from Vici. So as of right now, he realized, look, I got to get out. Even where Yagao would usually be able to support him as this Twisted Fate, because you have Zeka on the Galio, it's so easy for him to roam against Yagao that they can't go for these aggressive plays.
And we get to a point where the duelist of a Trundle just shows his stuff. Yagao with blue buff. Blue was transferred over to Zeka a little bit earlier. Kanavi a bit slower on the clear, just because of the way he's been pathing. Now heading towards the top side. Remember that Herald still standing there? And Leyan's also here. This will be a question as to whether he wants to contest. Might have a suspicion.
I'm surprised that Vici aren't contesting for this, especially as Leyan backs. Like, you have Hung moving towards this objective. They know it's something that JDG would love to get their hands on, and they're kind of just gifting it across. iBoy's free to just keep farming in this bottom lane. He doesn't need the help of the Vici support, but unfortunately for them, as Zoom moves down, they realize we're a bit late on this and we won't be able to fight for it.
And so Herald given over to JDG. A killless game at 9 minutes here, but still feels more control than what we saw before. Hung is walking around towards the bottom side. Yagao was waiting with LvMao. It's all like, you know, I've used the first date analogy so many times. This is like meeting your girlfriend or boyfriend's parents. You're not sure how to progress, but you've got a general idea of what's accepted. But it's one misstep and you're screwed. And then they're never going to respect you again.
You only get one chance at first impression. And I mean, look, you only get one chance at trying to beat JDG's Vici, because you only get one chance during this split unless you can make it towards playoffs. But Vici want to take this slow. They want to make sure they're doing everything prim and proper, impress the parents, impress the viewers, and make sure that they are at least getting to a stage where they can be in a good standing.
Remember that last split, our cutoff was 8. I think WE was the final team to pick it off. We say 9 because that was the definite. But Vici were one series away. They ended 6-9 or 6-10 or something in the end. They were so close to making playoffs. One series like this could bite them in the back if all said and done. So, an important day for them. Maybe it's getting the blessing to marry the girlfriend or boyfriend. Maybe that's a little bit better. Positioning around mid once again. LvMao has made his destination clear. Hung is here once more. No ulti burned yet, nor the Destiny, nor the hero's entrance. Waiting for that next big moment. 1 minute 20 till Dragon. Leyan securing his own jungle, getting rid of some control wards.
It's interesting to see that Kanavi wants to try and make this Rift Herald play mid, though, because when you think about it, it's more about trying to set up LoKen as the main source of damage on this team, but hang on a second.
Oh, and then Hung, Javelin toss wide again. Navi's aiming just off today.
And not quite able to get that one to hit, but as we already talked about, look, you think of LoKen as the person that you want to set up on JDG's side, but I think the main goal here for JDG is more about enabling Yagao to get these roams off. We talked about how difficult it is for both the Twisted Fate and Galio to have impacts on side lanes because they can match each other. But if you can create this longer lane, it gives more roaming time for Yagao to try and make these plays. And that's where the Rift Herald is coming into play, trying to crack open this mid lane structure so you can have the Twisted Fate.
See what Kanavi eventually does with it, because at this point it is starting to run out. But I will mention there's a CS lead for Leyan in the jungle. No other lane really has much of a lead, bar maybe Zoom in the top side with Cube, but Cube is receiving a large wave for now. And all that attempted ganking from Kanavi trying to get active, but Leyan's been farming meanwhile. There's a really good sign of control from Vici. And you would kind of expect that this team is, you know, run by a Korean coach. It's very controlled play. We're just getting through the early, picking up items. But maybe I'm wrong, because the gank begins mid, and Kanavi's caught out to put the Herald down. He'll die for it. First blood over to Vici. The Herald gets a charge, but no gold was given over. And this is a good sign.
That's an amazing sign for Vici. And they can turn towards this second dragon set up for themselves. We're guaranteed Infernal or Ocean Soul as well. So Vici can make plays just off of these dragons alone. We'll get the Ocean Soul as well. So, this is looking really good for Vici. And as you said, the big thing for Vici is they are built around team fights, whereas JDG are looking to try and create pressure in side lanes with Yagao, and then have a lot of poke in and around objectives with LoKen and Kanavi. If you can force JDG into fights around this dragon, it becomes a lot easier for Cube to find a flanking position, Leyan to get these pillars to try and disrupt the likes of Kanavi or LoKen or even Zoom to a certain extent in these pits. So this is where Vici are actually setting themselves up to find opportunities where their team composition can fight against JDG.
I mean, they're at a point now where hitting those one-item strides, the double proto belt in the solo lanes, and that BF sword will become something soon for iBoy, in a very good position where they can head towards these next objectives with a lot of confidence. Zoom even roving down, trying to add some pressure, but Zeka knows that his team's towards the bottom side, not taking any unnecessary risks.
And that's the thing, is that often when you look at... Hang on, that's a pillar.
Yes,
Pung is off to the side.
He was thinking about it.
Yeah. So the thing is for Zeka, like, when Yagao roams, you're actually better off being second to the party, because you want to get as much use out of that big AP or magic resist shield that you can offer to your squad as well, and you can almost bait in JDG to go that little bit too far as well. So he's fine to be a little bit behind the play, so he doesn't have to roam first to try and make anything happen.
That was so sketchy with the blue off. Hang on, first destiny of the game. iBoy in the lane by himself, but the hero's entrance is burnt. Actually, you talk about matching, and there it is. Play is negated.
Yeah, and now Yagao has to go back to base. You do end up missing out, it looks like, on a wave mid, but you can have Leyan move over to collect that and keep the tower safe just as Zeka makes his way back towards mid. So at the moment, again, Vici just dissuading everything that JDG want to do.
All right, this game's going late.
Yeah.
Who scales?
Well, I mean, you've got kind of a bit of both on either side. Like, Kanavi will do relatively well in comparison to Leyan, but obviously you've got iBoy, who's on Aphelios. So it's kind of even to a certain extent, and it will be more about how both teams play around when they're strongest. Like, if JDG are able to just sit back and poke, they look great. If we end up in an all-out team fight, Vici will win.
Well, Zoom might be caught on that here. Good dodge away from the shuriken in the end.
So the problem for JDG is that they are heavy reliant on Kanavi and LoKen. If they can get a bunch of these skill shots to hit well, they can whittle out Vici, force them back, and try and go for the aggressive play at that stage. And Zoom here on JDG is more about being a beefy frontliner and dissuading this engage from like Cube or Zeka or anyone else. He's about when Vici tried to engage, that's when Zoom's enabled. Whereas on Vici's side, they have to be able to find flanks. They need Trundle pillars to try and allow iBoy to get into fights, because otherwise, I mean, look at the range he can play around as JDG.
Hey, we're in the same play yet again. Leyan's going to walk at him. Ignite was put down, but it was unsealed spellbook, and that was just like the play we saw at the start of the game. JDG, meanwhile, though, do have a bit of priority top, and they're going to start the herald off, but Vici are coming.
They are, but you do have LoKen who's able to move a little bit faster.
Leyan
Here we go.
Subjugate is available. Has it to put onto Zoom. Herald is continued. High hit. Hung ready to engage with Zeka. JDG numbers at 4 as well. 80 carries are on their way, but iBoy and LoKen are a bit far away. JDG established control back in the river. Cube has ulti and flash. They're in a choke. Running away first. He cleanses immediately. Hero's entrance used, and Vici now reassert their position as Hung starts to engage. LoKen and iBoy have joined. The slicing Maelstrom burns them up, and JDG have walked to their death. And you know what? The Herald was taken. Vici Gaming.
And that was what we just said. JDG, if they can poke, if they can prod, they can take the fight. But if Vici find the engage, they will come out victorious. Cube with the flash engage and the setup from Hung win that fight for Vici, and they want to crack open mid.
The Herald going to give them the gold lead in this game. And you know what? This is another promising sign.
And it's 30 seconds until this dragon as well. Vici instantly back, they can move towards the dragon, and now they've just created so many advantages for themselves.
Well, I don't know what's happened to Vici while they've been off the English broadcast, but Coma had pulled out the belt, and the kids are in line.
So Vici do still have to be careful actually at this dragon fight, because if you look at the ult economy here, you've got a lot that's been burned by Vici, but we're going to have a quick look at Cube here. this was a great engage. So I like this ult that we talked about to dissuade any sort of aggression from JDG. But Cube coming in here, I mean, can you ask for a better Maelstrom? And as well, you can see LoKen is caught between a rock and a hard place, has to arcane shift out away from the fight, and he's not going to be able to get back in and play safely at that stage. But I want to draw your attention again to these ults, because you have pretty much everything on JDG, or at least coming up soon, whereas for Vici, because of how long the cooldown is for the likes of that ultimate Zeka, Cubes as well is only just about finishing up, so they're not in a position to fight yet, which is a little bit upsetting, because obviously would have been great for them to get on to Soul Point, but that's just not going to be an option for them right now.
So Dragon does go over to JDG. Gold just about even. And, oh, thank you. A game that we can talk about, right? And it does feel like this game is building up with a lot of anticipation. We're getting towards the mid-game quicker with not as much action as a lot of people would expect when they tune into the LPL, but we're towards 2 items for LoKen. We got iBoy, who's almost on his second, as he has to back away from this turret. There's a lot of damage on LoKen, who's been farming really well. 2-item Ezreal with Muramana this early on. As, oh, Destiny, they found Leyan. Knocked up with the Glacial Fissure. Forward goes LoKen. Leyan will burn his flash and exit stage left.
Leyan does get out, but this is why Zeka being positioned on the bottom side actually doesn't really work out for Vici. You want Zeka to be in range at all times when you're fighting for the likes of Rift Herald with the ultimate. However, though, that TP being burnt actually is great for Vici, because although you don't have a Destiny on Yagao, that Rift Herald's about to spawn, you got TP on Zeka, like, they can just force a play and have that man advantage towards Rift Herald.
Especially when Zoom's getting poked out here and Cube has the wave shoved. And Cube really doing nicely in this lane. Kanavi backing away as well.
I'm an idiot. That was Baron.
That's okay.
I was like, hang on.
I heard you say Herald. Yeah. I thought we had 2, but that's okay. The third Herald, Shelly's mother, Sharon. And she's now spawned. There's Cube and Leyan. We'll do this reasonably fast, but Zoom able to defend for now. And Vici just want this turret, but Zoom won't give it to them. While the rest of JDG are grouping up towards the top side, ready to shadow. iBoy left on his lonesome in the mid lane, while Zeka's hovering. Actually puts a control ward down. I believe he was waiting for the hero's entrance. Now goes back to bot.
So the thing is that with Zeka on the side lane, he doesn't really have pressure onto these towers, especially if you're able to have Yagao just match it. Yagao's wave clear is too strong. It's really difficult for a Galio to get onto a turret and really do very much, but I want to see if Vici are able to try and at least play Zeka as the wave clear against Yagao, rather than him being able to deal with this bottom lane turret. And as a result, I'd like to see Zeka in topside, which is what we're seeing at the moment. And at least Cube then can chip away at this bottom lane turret while being uncontested by the rest of JDG.
Kind of good that we highlighted both mid laners. Their ultimates, their impact in this game one continues being talked about. We also mentioned a bit about the 80 carries, both with the kill in hand. And we're just noticing that LoKen is at 230 CS at 21 minutes in the game. All he's doing is picking up CS, but iBoy similar, as now onto Kanavi, a good pounce before the pillar comes up.
Yeah, the only reason iBoy's behind right now is because that mid-wave hasn't crashed into the turret where he can collect it. So both these 80 carries very rapidly farming. The thing here, though, is iBoy is getting to a place where he is going to become very strong. Obviously, you see the 2 items locked in for himself there. This has been accelerated by 1, the farm, 2, the coal that he picked up earlier as well. So he is rapidly getting to 200 years, and it's only going to be a matter of, say, 4 or 5 minutes before he's actually finished off that 3rd Zeal item, and a really big danger for JDG.
Which is why we'll probably end up seeing that, because we'll see him at the Dragon as hung. Poked out.
And that's how JDG want to try and play against it, is using LoKen's range advantage over iBoy, using LvMao to try and help it disengage, but they don't spot Cube here on the side.
He's walked all the way upriver without being spotted. Biggest part is Vici love these objectives, because slicing Maelstrom, hero's entrance, everything layers so nicely. And they've got one coming up in a minute. They've got all ultis available, those 2 items across the board in both Galio and Cube.
The threat from Cube and also from Leyan moving in that top side has given mid priority over towards Vici. So you can see already they've got a bunch of vision in the river. They are backing though, so there is a window of opportunity here for JDG to get in and secure vision of them for themselves, push out this mid lane, but it's going to come down to this fight at Ocean, and when Vici are spread out like this cube on the bottom side of the map, I'd love to see Vici move from mid into river, because you just give the opportunity then for Cube to have a much easier time at getting this flank off onto JDG.
15 seconds, let's go. I've been waiting for blood. Been very picky today, but Destiny used. Hung in the middle of this. They turn onto Yagao. He gets knocked up. Hung very, very low. The Glacial Fisherman, the support, takes everything and doesn't die. The slicing Maelstrom then lights them up again. And JDG invested so much into Hung, and they got dropped. In goes Zeka, the Winds of War, the Shield of Duran, and JDG outclassed by Vici bloody Gaming.
And they're going to go towards Baron. They can tear through this, and that was beautiful from Vici. Instantly you see Zeka TP in. I'm matching this play from Yagao. You've already got that Gargoyle Stoneplate on Hung. He's very tanky. He's so hard to take down as Yagao and LoKen, and they get the team fight victory.
Oh my lord. Vici Gaming. It's been a while since I cast it, but I'm glad. I'm very glad I get to cast this game. The turret and the Baron are going to be the spoils of war. And all JDG can do is pick up this dragon and hope that this game doesn't spiral out of control.
Vici are playing this so smart. Like, everything they're doing is exactly how you want to play against JDG. The draft even setting them up to try and play against it. So watch here. They tried to kill Hung, but he's incredibly tanky. Double TP instantly onto this. And because, of course, you're going to be running that Nimbus Cloak as Zeka, you are super quick here. So he is running down JDG this whole time. Then he gets the flash for another speed up, which allows him to get onto Zoom here. Like, this was so well played.
And you know what? When Nidalee doesn't snowball, when Nidalee doesn't add much, Trundle a lot better. Who knew? Especially when you're in a fight like that and what you add. That was great to watch. Vici with a 2k gold lead. Vici with control, but Cube doesn't have flash. Has the slicing Maelstrom. Will he die here? The Glacial Fisher lay it on down. He has time to burn the ulti, but he still drops. And with the Baron play, that's huge. But now for Yagao on the wrong side of the map, while Vici walk into this choke, JDG have something to say about it. Grabbing him to get Leyan away. But JDG still on the chase. True Shot Barrage going down as here comes Yagao. He's used the Destiny. Zeka does have his ultimate.
iBoy wants JDG to engage onto him, though. This is the play.
Hung gets the engage. They're in a choke onto LvMao. The two-man knock up the Inferno Moonlight Vigil. And once again, JDG are now at a 4 versus 4. Kanavi running away with LoKen. Arcane shifting over the wall. He's against the traffic cone. Manages to escape. This Baron kind of reserved a bit. But now Vici are on the track through mid.
Yeah, they're going to... Well, I thought they were going to start pushing through mid, but there is that wave in top that Zeka wants to go and collect. And the thing is, look, as JDG, if you are jumping onto Vici, that's where they want you. Because now you're enabling Zeka's ultimate, you're enabling iBoy, and you are going to have so much damage churn out as iBoy. In JDG's situation there, what you want to do is just have this continual poke coming in, slowing members with the likes of that Iceborne Gauntlet, and having Yagao just come in with these stun cards. You don't want to have this hard engage where Zoom is getting into the middle of everyone, because then you just open up Vici to go for the play they just did.
You know what I respect out of it, though? The fact that JDG could be losing inhibitor turrets right now, could be losing outer inner turrets, I should say, towards bottom top. That denies the Baron. The Baron buff actually didn't pick up that much gold, bar the kills that Vici acquired off JDG, so 2k still the gold lead. And we're heading towards even Dragon State.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the JDG play originally. I thought that was fantastic, having LoKen and LvMao sit around, picking off Cube. It was great, but that's where you need to just, okay guys, we got what we needed to. It's going that little bit step too far is the issue here is, now, Vici, Baron buff is gone, but they're still putting pressure on this bottom side.
Be another thing if JDG get caught out here. As inner turret getting pressured down, True Shot Barrage to help wave clear. Leyan walking up to the turret now. He's a beefy boy. This dude went to KFC. He absorbed the chicken.
So for JDG, as long as they can keep this bottom tower or at least pressure on this bottom side, you're opening up for Yagao to actually put pressure onto his top side structure. He has his own teleport, he also has the Destiny, whereas Zeka's teleport isn't quite up yet. So you can see JDG are trying to make the map plays while they have this brief window. And it does mean they're able to hold on to that tier 2 in the bottom side. Actually, sorry, it went down, but still, they're putting pressure elsewhere, which is stopping Vici from moving forward.
3k gold lead at the moment, 28 minutes in. Next Dragon coming up. JDG have acquired 2 Oceans before. If this team and JDG picks up Ocean Soul, the dynamic later on is going to be very different. The poke Kite back, you can't kill him. Yeah,
and that's it. If Vici managed to get this Ocean Soul, it's all she wrote for JDG. You can't hard engage, you don't have the composition to do it. You can't win out in the poke war because, well, Vici are going to heal it all back up. But JDG have gotten 2 Ocean Dragons for themselves. 45 seconds onto this next one, though. JDG will need to really ramp up this poke here as Vici are trying to get control of jungle and the river to allow JDG to contest this dragon.
Yagao's just TP top. Okay. He has Destiny available.
Zeka has his own TP, though. So, I mean, you can still have this matching going through from both mid laners. So, Vici's still very much in control here.
Kanavi going to get spotted out on a ward. He wanted to take down Zeka, force the match, and then go down. Or I guess they just get there, immediately giving up Ocean.
The thing is, though, for trying to get Zeka, he can just play underneath the tower. He has his own Zhonya's here as well, so the dive isn't going to be too successful, but actually they're just going to ignore it. Zeka couldn't clear out the wave fast enough with that Hextech Protobelt, and tower does go down.
We've got some mind games going on, that's for sure. Ocean going to be taken here, no contest. Backing away, they get the dragon. Sorry, what's it called? The turret, that's the one.
So now we're looking, okay, Vici, 5-minute timer has been enabled by them. They're like, look, JDG, you can play these little map games, you can do whatever you want. We now have to fight you for this Ocean Dragon. Otherwise, we just nullify everything your composition wants to do. So JDG, right, you do crack open that top lane turret. You're getting a little bit more pressure for Yagao on either side of the map, but honestly, until you're able to put pressure onto an inhibitor turret, which I don't really see them being able to do, now this Ocean Dragon is easy game for Vici.
The fight that can break the game wide open. The one before already netted the Baron for Vici Gaming, gave him this gold lead. You can see there's a Sorcery's Elixir in Cube's inventory. He's building towards this next fight for it to be the fight that ends all. That gives game 1 over to Vici Gaming, especially with those 3 items already picked up for both solo laners, plus the Aphelios with a BF Sword and a QSS. Also note that LoKen, who's been the primary damage dealer for JDG in this first game, has the 3 items with the dance, with the Blade of the Rune King coming 4th. He's slightly unkillable. Vici will know that. Everyone positioning for the pick. Ping's getting spammed down. Vici walking in this choke, trying to section off Kanavi. Hung is a key engage tool. Killer's going to go down while they clear away Vision.
This is the hard part for JDG, is trying to get this Vision. Because obviously, you know, you got a lot of poke coming from Kanavi, from LoKen, as you try and get through this, but...
Hang on, Aphelios turret exists. Kanavi should not have walked into that. Luckily, he has healing. But remember, this is a bit of a carry Nidalee, so...
It is, but it's also very heavily on the spear. It's the javelin toss that's going to be doing a lot of the damage. It's not like we're going Lich Bane here. It is very much... we are all in on AP focus build where we're just landing these spears. We're not going like Athene's and Holy Grail to poke and heal and do that kind of stuff, or the Lich Bane, which is about that execute damage and getting a whole burst off of these auto attacks. They realize, look, if Nidalee's in range to auto attack, she's already too far forward, so it's about trying to play at range against what feature you're going for.
Add to the poke that's already there. Baron up sitting, waiting, staring them in the face. 245 to the Ocean Dragon. iBoy is humongous. Double buffs enabled. And the level 16 Aphelios. Get ready for this. Baron's starting up. He's like, hey, maybe I should hit this. He doesn't take any damage from it. Well, JDG don't know. Oh, they don't know.
LoKen just stopped the back. They now realize.
Okay, Scrying Orb wasn't going to help on that. LvMao and a choke ready. Destiny being burned. But where, oh where, will it be used to?
Just the mid. He's just trying to spot out and put pressure onto Vici, but they do get the Destiny out, so there's no TP on Yagao either at the moment. That's still got another few minutes. I think it's about 2 minutes before that will tick into play.
Yep.
And then we're looking as well at the the worry for JDG is if they're going to try and force Vici off of this Baron, where's the wards that are behind them? Where can Cube get to? So this is why JDG have actually been doing a really good job of clearing the entire set of Vici has put down to stop Cube. It was, yeah. What was it I said earlier on as well? It was
Xiaoxi Shen.
Yeah, Xiaoxi Shen was a difficult one as well. But either way, Vici want to make sure that they've got deep wards to enable Cube for his flank positioning, but JDG aren't letting them go for that. So it's very much back and forth and tension around where this vision is placed.
Oh, I love it. 3, 2, 1. That's the time. I don't know why I said it like that, but 33 minutes in. Bit tense for me as well, apparently. Minute 10 till that Ocean Soul for Vici. Or third dragon for JDG, whichever way it swings. Still that 2k gold lead that exists on the scoreboard. Now, control wards throughout. BT for iBoy.
I was about to say, he's going to heal a lot in these fights.
Versus the Blade of the Ruin King now complete for the other 80 carry in LoKen. Yagao gets the gold card onto Hung, who flashes away. Now he brings in with a depth charge and the slicing maelstrom again. Cube brings three-dimensional space to JDG's atmosphere. They're so confused, they don't know what to do.
And what did JDG expect? You're jumping on this team that wants you to go on top of them. Look, Zeka's just buying time. They're going to crack up in the base.
They're going to run through mid. He's wasted the time, and the ulti goes golden. Yagao and Zoom, the only two people alive, looking for Zeka. He just as punches away, and they don't even get him. Vici, in Game 1 over the 2020 Spring Champions, absolutely annihilate and bring themselves to match point.
That was beautiful from Vici Gaming. From